Darren Rovell with Collect TV, and we are talking about one of our favorite promotional days of all year, as the Madison Mallards will have Matt Foley Day on July 6th. Joining me now is Kyle Chisholm, who's the marketing director, and Brent Bartels, who's the creative media manager. Guys, I mean, I'm not going to ask you where you came up with this because obviously Chris Farley is a native son of Madison, Wisconsin. Uh, what took so long?
Yeah, it's funny. Like the team years before we got here has done a number of bobbleheads, but as the alternate identity boom has kind of happened across minor league and independent baseball, we thought this would be the perfect opportunity for something on a larger scale.
So how I know people have seen the outfit with the tie and the whole thing. What can you tell us, like, since you announced, about how excited people are for this? I assume you've gotten more hat sales and more jersey sales for more states than you ever have when you're just the Mallards.
Yeah, this was something that, of course, has a local Madison angle, but definitely had that window for national reach. And I think that's something we've seen. Brent and I turn around every once in a while and we see our merch team stacking boxes for our UPS person to collect. And it's about 8 rows across and 4 rows deep of just people who bought that on-field hat. And we've been having messages and calls from all over the country of people who've received their gear already or people who are looking for the size of their hat.
And on social, it's just, especially when we announced it, it exploded. It sparked tons of conversation and just enjoyment for the brand of what we're doing on social media. So it was extremely successful that way too.
And technically, I assume all rights, like nothing's really trademarked by SNL or owned by the Chris Farley estate. All right. There's not any like in cost that you have to do here, right?
Right, yeah, there's no technical ownership, but we actually had a meeting with Chris's brother Tom Farley just to discuss our idea for the night. And he said, funny enough, it's just one of the two skits that the family has the ownership to because Chris actually created it and co-wrote the skit of Matt Foley with Bob Odenkirk at Second City in Chicago. So it was.
Oh, get out of here. I had no idea. Did he tell you what the other one was?
He did not. He just
Oh.
mentioned that it was the only thing that is perfect because even if there were some ownership rights, we didn't have to jump through any hoops that way because it was part of the family's ownership. Like you said, there's no real paperwork behind it, but it was an original idea from Chris prior to his time on SNL.
What are the plans for the actual game besides, just wearing the hats and the uniforms?
Yeah, in the past, I know they've had impersonators or people who are coming dressed up. So we've already had folks reach out to us saying like, if you need a Matt Foley for your day, I'll be your guy. My guess is that we'll just have a bunch of people dressed in their plaid suit coats and khaki pants and running around, hopefully not jumping through any tables around the ballpark. But we have our Mallards Volkswagen van, and we'll set that up as a prop for people to take photos with.
Yeah,
And
you guys went all in. I was actually
yeah.
Oh
really
yeah.
impressed I was impressed by the whole van act. That was
Yeah,
pretty.
that's like it was perfect because we have the van and we were just like, okay, we need another rebrand. Ironically enough, this wasn't in our initial four ideas. Another team had taken one of our original ideas that we were going to do this season. So we had to scramble to come up with something different. And this kind of was perfect. And it was like, why didn't we do this before?
Yeah.
And we were like, we have the van. We can easily make it Madison popular, and it was kind of go from there. But the van really sparked the initial conversation about it, to actually
Yeah.
put it together because we're like, oh, we have these pieces already.
And
Because you guys aren't a minor league, right? Like you're not affiliated, right? How much more creativity? Like, you don't even have to ask anyone, right?
exactly right. That's the one thing in a weird way. It's almost better to be working in independent baseball versus a team like the Yankees, where they've never changed anything and probably won't for 100 years. And we could try out 36 uniforms across 36 nights if we really want to. And yeah, that's totally the fun of it. So everything's on the table.
Can you guys let me inside kind of a decision to do something like this? from a financial standpoint, like, we know that minor leagues, college baseball leagues, have been just crushing it with alternate identities, as you mentioned before. That being said, there are costs to this. So you have to say, okay, what is the break even cost? How much do we have to sell? If it is that we have to actually get to break even, I know you guys don't exactly have a $15 million budget. So like, what are you considering when you're doing this type of stuff?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is if you have an idea, there's really no way to test how much people will buy it. And it's just one of those things that like we have that national angle, we have the Madison angle. Let's cross our fingers and hope that people latch onto this as much as we've latched onto it. Just emotional investment in those types of things. But we figured that an on-field jersey run costs us about $1,500, and then the amount of t-shirts and hats that we decide to buy in, we have to make sure that we are expecting the demand to equal that amount to go back out, if not more. So, last year we played one game as the Brandy Old Fashions and we sold out of on-field hats. This year we doubled our stock for all that stuff, and I think we're still flying through it, which is a good problem to have. But yeah, we can only ever go on the stuff that we've done the year prior. And it's always a good issue to have when people are enjoying it even more so than we would thought. So having items online and having items in the ballpark when people are here is just something that we need to kind of forecast, but it's all kind of a shot in the dark based on previous year's numbers.
And
And if not, you get fired, right? If it's no good,
Yeah. Yeah.
Additionally, too, we auction off the jerseys, which obviously helps us recuperate costs on the actual budgeting. But specifically with like this promotion with the motivational speakers, we're working with the Farley Recovery Foundation. So we'll take the cost of the jersey, what we make from the auction, get our money back. But then everything else, all the proceeds from that will go to the Recovery Foundation. $5 from our pre-sale packages went to the Recovery Foundation. We'll probably do some more of that with just all of the merch sales as well. So a lot of that is more so for the community aspect of it, where we try to promote a nonprofit or in this case the Recovery Foundation, because there's a tie to it. We make that a priority, even if it costs us a little bit more money on the jersey side of things or the merchandise side of things, so that we can make sure we're doing something good for the community.
What's the farthest place you've noticed that has bought a hat or
Oh boy.
shirt?
Yeah.
I think it's very close, if not all 50 states already.
I know that there's a hat collector in Alaska who will, from time to time, give us a call. And we always think that it's like a telemarketer because the phone number area code is like out of state. But we've had like New York, Philadelphia, Seattle, Washington, down in Texas, California, like everywhere. It's been crazy. We're like, hey, I live in Philadelphia. I will not be making it up to Wisconsin this summer, but I want to buy a hat. Like, what's the next closest on-field size hat to like a New Era or something like that? Because we use the game, so they're stretch fit. So we are constantly communicating our hat sizes to people as well.
I mean, who cares? Who cares about the Mallards? Is there any chance you need to permanently change your name?
Yeah.
We've thought about that a
Yeah.
few times. I know this isn't about the Muskelards, but last year we did a Muskelard rebrand. We had considered that actually being the name of the team back in 2021 when we rebranded. And that's what honestly kind of started this whole, like, us doing these rebrands. Obviously it was popular in minor league baseball, but it was that idea that kind of sparked, hey, we should do this. And then we took the name from what it could have been in 2021, and it's just spiraled from there. And obviously we've gotten to this where it's become such a national thing, which is so cool. So it's really grown. And yeah, people like the rebrands a lot. Obviously we sell a lot of merch.
Yeah, two seasons and 7 rebrands later, and here we are. So
7 rebrands. That's incredible.
So it's always the question, like we'll pack up the last of our stuff and winterize the stadium in August, since we're summer collegiate, and our GM will turn to us and be like, cool, what's next year's idea? And we'll just look at each other like, I don't know, we better go to the drawing board. So
Well, Kyle and Brent, congratulations on making the world look at you. I think, this thing went insane, and people love Chris Farley and they love Matt Foley, and so glad that you guys were able to get some of that, take a piece of that virality. And thanks for joining us on Collect TV.
yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having us.